Part 10. Immortal world is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 91. The room suddenly became quiet. Zhao Zhigang's family and Su Yu and Long fixed their eyes on Su Yu. What a loud tone. Do you want them to die right from the start? Feeling Su Yu's voice as cold as ice, Zhao Zhigang and the others were really a little unpredictable. Tang Yuxin helped Zhao Mikan up with red eyes. Her eyes were full of anger when she looked at Zhao Zhigang and others. Zhao Lingfei's eyes flashed with light. She pointed at Su Yu and said, "Mom and Dad, I remember. I've seen this bastard here before. He was a high school classmate of this bitch, Tang Yuxin. I heard their conversation back then. It seemed that Tang Yuxin was comforting this bastard. He has no talent for cultivating immortals at all. He couldn't even get into any immortal martial academy. Trash like him is worse than trash." Su Yu always had a cold expression. He respects Zhao Mikan as an elder very much. Zhao Mikan used to be very kind to him. Therefore, before Zhao Mikan and Tang Yuxin spoke, he did not want to send these people to hell without permission. When Zhao Lingfei saw that Su Yu didn't speak, she said proudly, "Trash, don't you feel uncomfortable after I exposed your true identity? How can you, a bastard, kill us? I guess you just wanted to scare us away. It's a pity that your plan didn't succeed." After Su Yu and Long learned that Su Yu was a loser who couldn't even get into any immortal martial academy, he no longer had any worries. His eyes looked up and down at Tang Yuxin, and the desire for Tang Yuxin in his heart became stronger and stronger. Lingfei has been specially recruited by Tianhai Immortal Martial Academy. I am handling this matter. My father is from Tianhai Immortal Martial Academy teacher. I'll give you a chance to achieve great success, as long as you are willing to become Lingfei's slave and listen to us obediently from now on. I can take you into the Tianhai Immortal Martial Academy together. Tianhai Immortal Martial Academy is one of the top 5 prestigious schools in Xia. He believed that many people could not resist this temptation, not to mention that the situation at Tang Yuxin's family was so bad now. Does Tang Yuxin have the right to choose? In Su Yuanlong's eyes, Tang Yuxin was already in his pocket. Su Yu noticed Su Yuanlong's gaze, and his eyes were filled with coldness. Zhao Lingfei's aura from the 6th level of the Qi condensation realm surged up. "Tang Yuxin, my brother Yuanlong is talking to you. Are you mute? I know that your cultivation level is only at the 6th level of Qi condensation realm. Now I am standing at the same height as you before I enter the Immortal Martial Academy to practice. You're a useless piece of trash. Today I want to teach you a lesson personally and let you know what it means to be polite." With the help of Su Yuanlong, she forcibly raised her cultivation level to the 6th level of Qi condensation realm. The pill Su Yuanlong gave her had serious side effects, and it could be said that her cultivation path had been ruined. Su Yu saw that Tang Yuxin wanted to face Zhao Lingfei by herself. Before meeting Su Yu, Tang Yuxin was indeed only at the 6th level of Qi condensation realm. But now Tang Yuxin has already entered the innate realm. She didn't release her momentum and aura just now, so Zhao Lingfei and others didn't feel her changes. He Wan and Zhao Zhigang were watching the show. Su Yuanlong sneered and put his hands in his pockets, asking Tang Yuxin to be taught a lesson so that he could be more obedient in the future. After Zhao Lingfei shouted low, she rushed towards Tang Yuxin. "Bitch, you will only die if I step on you." She slapped Tang Yuxin's chest with her palm. The palm wind is fierce. When Tang Yuxin faced Zhao Lingfei, who was sure of victory, her aura suddenly burst out, while her figure avoided Zhao Lingfei's palm. She slapped Zhao Lingfei on the face. There was a pop sound. The left half of Zhao Lingfei's cheek was bloody and bloody. She was kicked out and fell in front of Su Yuanlong. Ah! The severe pain on his face prompted Zhao Lingfei to let out a painful scream. He Wan and Zhao Zhigang on the side had stiff expressions, and Tang Yuxin's aura made them feel breathless. After all, the two of them are only in the chi condensation realm. How could you have the cultivation level of innate realm? Zhao Zhigang stuttered. He once swallowed saliva crazily in her throat. Zhao Mikan glanced at Suyu, who was calm and composed. She knew that the destruction of the Sun family in Linzhou was related to Suyu. She was kneeling in front of Sun's house back then. If Suyu hadn't appeared, she might have knelt until she died that night. Now she guessed that Tang Yuxin's change was definitely Suyu's method. She breathed a sigh of relief. After Zhao Lingfei screamed for a while, she got up from the ground and took Su Yuanlong's arm. "Brother Yuanlong, please help me teach this bitch a lesson. I'm going to make her life worse than death." Su Yuanlong narrowed his eyes. He did not expect Tang Yuxin to have the cultivation level of innate realm. "It's interesting. I can let you be specially recruited into Tianhai Immortal Martial Academy. The price is that you must be my slave girl forever." He was full of disgust for Zhao Lingfei, who had half of his cheeks covered in blood and flesh. "Brother Yuanlong, how could you do this to me? Tang Yuxin, a bastard, is not qualified to be your slave girl, only I am qualified to serve you. I." Before Zhao Lingfei could finish speaking, Su Yuanlong shouted, "Shut up!" While talking, the aura of the mid-sea transformation realm in him soared. Zhao Lingfei turned pale with fright. Neither he Wan nor Zhao Zhigang dared to speak. Tang Yuxin's eyes were cold. Seeing this, Su Yuanlong pointed at Suyu. "You care about this bastard, right? I will destroy him now. With your innate realm cultivation, there is no way you can stop me. Say it." He rushed towards Suyu. Zhao Zhigang's family was full of joy. They hoped that Tang Yuxin would rather die than surrender. In this way, Zhao Mikan and Tang Yuxin will never turn around. In the opinion of Zhao Zhigang's family, Suyu would definitely be easily killed by Su Yuanlong. However, when Su Yuanlong was about to approach Suyu waved his right palm casually. There was a bang sound. Su Yuanlong was shot out of the window. His face was full of fear, and he felt that his body was constantly expanding. Just as he was about to beg for mercy, his body turned into a large mass of blood mist in mid-air. Suyu said lightly, "It's really disturbing the peace." As if he had just swatted a mosquito to death, he continued, "And Zhao, what should we do with these three people? If I weren't here today, they would never let you and Uxin go." When Zhao Zhigang's family saw Suyu casually slapping Su Yuanlong to death, their faces turned pale with fright. Su Yuanlong is in the middle stage of sea transformation realm. Suyu could kill Su Yuanlong so easily. Could it be that his cultivation had entered the sky control realm? Zhao Zhigang's family couldn't imagine it. "You two have bewitched me, why don't you kneel down and kowtow to apologize now?" Zhao Zhigang kicked twice. One kick hit He Wan, and the other kicked Zhao Lingfei. The two men were kicked to the ground. After the mother and daughter saw Zhao Zhigang kowtowing crazily, although they felt aggrieved, they also started kowtowing. Zhao Mikan no longer has any brother-sister relationship with Zhao Zhigang. All she has for Zhao Zhigang is hatred. "Xiao, please help me deal with them," Zhao Mikan said. When Zhao Zhigang's family heard this, they only hated themselves for being late in kowtowing and apologizing. Bang, bang, bang. The sounds of kowtows became louder. "Mikoto, for the sake of me being your brother, please spare our family." Zhao Zhigang had runny nose and tears. Suyu said coldly, "Your blood will stain the house." When Zhao Zhigang's family heard this, they thought Suyu was going to let them go. "Just 1 second." Suyu moved his fingers. The bodies of Zhao Zhigang, He Wan, and Zhao Lingfei flew out of the window uncontrollably. 9 nether purple fire emerged from Suyu's palm. He flicked his fingers. A cluster of purple flames shot out. In Zhao Zhigang's frightened eyes, the 9 nether purple fire came into contact with his body and instantly burned him to ashes. When Hewan saw this, she struggled in mid-air. Mycon, I know I was wrong, I really know I was wrong, I beg you. The words are not finished yet. Hewan was also burned to ashes by the 9 nether purple fire. Zhao Lingfei didn't want to die. She was so frightened that her whole body trembled. Yuxin, we are sisters. It was me before. She also didn't finish her sentence. Burned by the 9 nether purple fire, she didn't even have time to scream. Immortal world is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 92. The world became quiet. Zhao Mycon looked out the window blankly. Mom, Zhao Zhigang and his family deserved their death, don't you? Before Tang Yuxin finished speaking, Zhao Mycon came to her senses and interrupted, Yuxin, you don't have to worry about me. After experiencing one thing after another in the past 2 years, I have long despaired of Zhao Zhigang and his family. If Xiao hadn't been here this time, we would have been tortured to death by them. It's not worth it to feel sad for this kind of person. Tang Yuxin breathed a sigh of relief. Mom, our lives will definitely get better and better in the future. Zhao Mycon nodded and said, Yuxin, I can rest assured that Xiao will be by your side from now on. You two hurry up and give me a big fat grandson. Tang Yuxin's cheeks turned red with embarrassment and she bit her lips. Mom, what nonsense are you talking about? Zhao Mycon smiled and said, okay, Mom won't rush you. Suyu was not idle. He helped Zhao Mycon treat her injuries. Then, she started cleaning up the house with Tang Yuxin. Zhao Mycon's cultivation talent is low, and she is only at the first level of qi condensation realm. She felt that under Suyu's treatment, the ribs in her body that were broken by Hewan's kick had recovered incredibly. Zhao Mycon looked at Suyu who was cleaning up the house and said, Xiao, I will slowly clean up here later. You and Uxin can sit for a while. Suyu said casually, and Zhao, it's okay, I'm free anyway. When Zhao Mycon couldn't be persuaded, she also joined in. While cleaning up the house, she said, Xiao, you have been really miserable these past 2 years. She knew that Suyu must have paid a lot of price for his current change. Suyu smiled lightly and said, Aunt Zhao, Linzhou is not peaceful recently. You will come with us later. He wanted Tang Yuxin and Zhao Mycon to live in Changsheng Academy. Lin Zixuan will also move to Changsheng College tonight. Zhao Mycon did not refuse. Xiao, I listen to you. After cleaning up the house, Suyu went out and bought a cake. Zhao Mycon went to buy vegetables. When she came back, she cooked many of Suyu's favorite dishes. The atmosphere is very cozy. Tang Yuxin's birthday was very simple, but she was really happy. In the 2 years since Suyu disappeared, she would make a wish for Suyu to appear in front of her every birthday. Now that Suyu is really back, she has changed her wish. She wishes that Suyu will be safe in the future. At night, Suyu and Tang Yuxin took Zhao Mycon to the Academy of Immortality. The night passed by in a hurry. This night, Tang Yuxin, Wang Mengluo, and others hardly slept. Last night, it was confirmed that the people accompanying Suyu to Tianhai this time were Mr. Wei, Mr. Chiao, and Zhang Wan. The rest all stayed in Changsheng Academy. In response, Lu Lin, Tang Yuxin, and others initially wanted to stubbornly insist on accompanying Suyu. But under the persuasion of Mr. Wei and Mr. Chiao, Lu Lin, Tang Yuxin, and others accepted the arrangement to stay in Linzhou. Even if they went to Tianhai with their cultivation level, they wouldn't be able to help Suyu at all, and might even be a drag on Suyu. After understanding this, they will naturally not persist any longer. Warm sunshine pours on the earth. It's still early. No need to rush Imperial Sky riding art. Zhang Wan suggested taking the high-speed train to Tianhai, which only takes a few dozen minutes. Lu Lin drove Suyu and the others to the high-speed rail station. Lin Zixuan and others sat in another car and followed them to the high-speed rail station. Before inbound, Tang Yuxin said, "Suyu, I'm waiting for you to come back at Changsheng Academy." Suyu touched Tang Yuxin's head. "Yuxin, I promise you, nothing will happen to me." Tang Yuxin nodded heavily, but the worry in her heart did not dissipate at all. When Lin Zixuan saw Suyu, Zhangwan, and others walking away together, she couldn't help but send a secret message to Suyu, "Deng disciple, I'll wait for you to come back." At the same time, after Suyu and Zhangwan set off, outside Tianhai high-speed railway station, in a luxurious black car, an old man and a middle-aged man sat in the back seat. The driver stood outside the car. The old man was wearing a black robe. His face was covered with wrinkles, but his aura was extremely terrifying. He is the father of the Tianhai Zhang family and Zhangwan's grandfather. Another middle-aged man with extraordinary bearing is Zhang Zhan, the head of the Zhang family. He seems to have a terrifying explosive power accumulated in him. "Dad, do you really want Xiaoan and Suwu to get engaged?" Zhang Zhan frowned. He has always loved Zhangwan, his eldest daughter. Mr. Zhang snorted coldly, "Don't think you are the only one who loves Xiaoan. It's just that this time old man Su made an offer that I can't refuse. As long as Xiaoan and Suwu get engaged, old man Su promises to let the president of the Alchemist Association help our Zhang family refine 7-star elixirs 3 times. Zhang Zhan was shocked when he heard this. The president of the Alchemist General Assembly is 7-star alchemist. This kind of alchemist will generally not take action easily. Even the Zhang family couldn't invite him. Asking the president of the Alchemist Federation to help the Zhang family refine 7-star elixirs 3 times would be enough to take Mr. Zhang and Zhang Zhan's cultivation to a higher level. Their promotion means that the Zhang family will also reach a higher level. Therefore, it is really difficult for Mr. Zhang to refuse. Besides, the old man of the Su family also made many other conditions. After careful consideration, Mr. Zhang agreed to let Zhangwan and Suwu get engaged. Zhang Zhan took a deep breath. "We just cut off all cooperation with the Su family. Xiaoan must be very repulsive to the Su family, otherwise she wouldn't insist on severing cooperation with the Su family. With her temperament, she will not agree to be engaged to Suwu." Mr. Zhang said coldly, "Suwu has immortal bones in his body. He is destined to soar into the sky in the future. In the Xia Kingdom, there are some very proud daughters from big families who want to marry him. This doesn't mean I have wronged Xiaoan." Later, Mr. Zhang sighed and said, "The Linzhou incident is causing a big fuss this time, and the cause is an abandoned son of the Su family. Xiaowan should not get involved in this matter. This will bring endless trouble to our Zhang family. When she returns to Tianhai this time, we must draw a clear line between her and the abandoned son of the Su family." After Zhangwan, Suyu, and others got on the high-speed train, Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang got the news immediately, and they came to wait outside the Tianhai high-speed rail station. Zhang Zhan stopped talking. As time flows, Suyu and Zhangwan arrived at Tianhai. After walking out of the high-speed rail station, Suyu had deep eyes. It's been such a long time. After such a long time, he returned to the city that once made him despair. But this time when he comes back, he will no longer be bullied and tortured. He will take revenge happily. Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang got out of the car. When Zhangwan saw it, she smiled and said, "Brother Suyu, my dad and grandpa are here to pick us up. You come with me and I will introduce you to them." Without waiting for Suyu to speak, she pulled Suyu and walked over. Mr. Wei and Mr. Chiao followed. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Immortal World is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 93. Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang had people investigate Suyu. Naturally, They had seen Suyu's photos. When the two of them saw Jongwon pulling Suyu over intimately, the expressions on their faces became a little ugly. This was the first time they saw Jongwon take the initiative to be so intimate with the opposite sex. In the eyes of Jongjeon and Mr. Jong, although Jongwon looks fiery on the surface, she is very cold and arrogant in her heart. Why would such a proud Jongwon fall in love with the abandoned son of the Suk family? Grandfather? Dad? Jongwon smiled charmingly and introduced, "This is Suyu. You must help him this time. Brother Suyu is very pitiful, and those people from the Tianhai Suk family are simply beasts." When Jongjeon heard this, his eyes showed coldness. Could it be that his eldest daughter really fell in love with the abandoned son of the Suk family? Mr. Jong was so angry that he blew his beard and glared, "Xiaowan, from this moment on, you must draw a clear line between you and the abandoned son of the Suk family. Do you understand?" The smile on Jongwon's face froze. Suyu's face was indifferent, and there was no wave in his eyes. Mr. Wei and Mr. Chiao looked displeased. They admired Senior Su very much and would never allow anyone to be disrespectful to Senior Su. Jongjeon saw an angry look on Jongwon's face, and he immediately said, "Xiaowan, listen to your grandpa. Are we going to harm you?" Mr. Jong snorted coldly, "Xiaowan, go home quickly and prepare. You will go to the Suk family's birthday banquet with us later. We've already picked out your gift for you. At the birthday banquet, we will announce your engagement to Suwoo." At first, Jongwon thought her ears had heard it wrong. She stared at Jongjeon and asked, "Dad, is what Grandpa said true?" After seeing Jongjeon nod, Jongwon said angrily, "Grandpa, are you an old fool? I don't like Suwoo. I feel sick when I see Suwoo. There is no good person in the Suk family today." Mr. Jiang's eyes were sharp, presumptuous. "Xiaowan, although your father and I love you very much, this is not the reason for you to be arrogant in front of us. Suwoo has immortal bones, and he is destined to be very bright in the future. Tell me, what is it about him that doesn't deserve you?" Jongwon said without hesitation, "Is the immortal bone in Suwoo's body his? That immortal bone clearly belongs to brother Suyu. The Suk family's methods are cruel. They actually did such a cruel thing to brother Suyu. They simply deserve death." After a pause, Jongwon adjusted her emotions, "Tell me, what conditions did the Suk family offer you?" Mr. Jong opened the backseat door, "Let's talk after we get in the car. This is a secret belonging to the Jong family." Mr. Jong believes that as long as Jongwon knows the conditions offered by the Suk family, she will definitely nod in agreement. "Brother Suyu, wait for me for a while. No matter how the Jong family chooses in the end. Anyway, I have always been on your side," Jongwon assured. Suyu nodded calmly. Mr. Wei and Mr. Chiao saw Jongwon, Jongjeon, and Mr. Jong getting into the back seat of the car. "Senior Su, don't we do something?" Mr. Wei asked. Suyu waved his hand and said, "That's not necessary." Suyu asked Mr. Wei, Mr. Chiao, and Jongwon to follow him just to make Tang Yuxin and others feel at ease. He alone is enough to deal with the Tianhai Suk family. After the car door is closed, the eyes of Jongjeon and Mr. Jong stayed on Jongwon at the same time. After a while, Jongjeon sighed and said, "Xiaowan, no matter what era you are in, you have always been the winner and the loser. In order to obtain the immortal bones of the abandoned son of the Suk family, Suwoo and his family did a lot of shameful things. But Suwoo finally succeeded in obtaining the immortal bones of the abandoned son of the Suk family. When Suwoo reaches the top of the Xia kingdom in the future, do you think anyone will dare to question him?" Jongwon bit her red lips, "Dad, you make me feel very strange. You and Grandpa have taught me since I was a child that you must be upright and upright. It was obviously the Suwoo family who robbed Suyu's brother. They did something heinous and they should be punished. Are the weak guilty? Are the weak guilty?" Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang were speechless when Zhang Wan questioned them. Mr. Zhang glanced at Su Yu through the car window. Xiaowen, we have heard about Lin Zhou. If you continue to get involved in this, our Zhang family will continue to get into trouble. It's not too late for you to pull away now. As long as you get engaged to Su Wu, you can get out of this matter. Before Zhang Wan could speak, he continued, Old man Su said that as long as you and Su Wu get engaged successfully today, the Su family will find a way to invite the president of the Alchemist Association to help our Zhang family refine the 7-star elixir 3 times. How do you think I can refuse this condition? Mr. Zhang looked at Zhang Wan, who was stunned. He thought Zhang Wan was shocked. Xiao Wan, you also know how difficult it is to hire a 7-star alchemist to refine the elixir. For now, our Zhang family simply cannot hire the president of the Alchemist Federation. Zhang Zhan nodded and said, alchemists all have eyes on their heads, especially those apex-level alchemists in Xia. I once met the president of the Alchemist Federation when I was working in the imperial capital. I said hello to him after identifying myself, but he ignored me. Zhang Wan, who came back to her senses, couldn't help but said, that's it? You asked the president of the Alchemist Association to help our family refine the 7-star elixir 3 times, and you want me to get engaged to Su Wu. Zhang Wan almost yelled. She had witnessed Su Yu's terrifying alchemy methods with her own eyes. Back then, Nijixuan asked Su Yu what he thought of the current president of the Alchemist Association. Su Yu only said, I am better than him. This short sentence. This means that Su Yu is most likely an 8-star alchemist. No matter how bad things get, Su Yu is definitely a 7-star alchemist, just like the president of the Alchemist Federation. Mr. Jiang's eyes narrowed. Xiao Wan, what do you mean by this? Do you know what this means? Zhang Wan said directly, isn't it the 7-star alchemist? Su Yu is a 7-star alchemist. She didn't talk too much, so she regarded Su Yu as a 7-star alchemist for the time being. Zhang Zhan was about to speak, but after hearing Zhang Wan's words, he suddenly froze. The father and son stared at Zhang Wan with disbelief. They didn't think the joke was funny at all. Xiaowen, do you think Grandpa and I are suffering from Alzheimer's disease? Will the abandoned son of the Su family be a 7-star alchemist? Mr. Jiang's words were full of ridicule. Zhang Wan burst out the momentum from the early stage of the creation realm in her body. As you know, when I left the opening heaven sea, I only had the cultivation level at the peak of the sky control realm. In such a short period of time, I have passed the great perfection of the sky control realm, and passed the half step of creation, becoming a true early stage cultivator of the creation realm. How do you think I did it? I have personally witnessed Brother Su Yu refining elixirs. Don't you want to play something big? Immortal world is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 94. The entire car was silent. Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang felt the strong aura of Zhang Wan in the early stage of the creation realm. They were silent for a long time. Will the abandoned son of the Su family be a 7-star alchemist? Is this possible? If this is true, are everyone in the Su family full of human heads and pig brains? He actually wants to kill a 7-star alchemist. If they can resolve their grudges with Su Yu, the Su family will undoubtedly reach an unprecedented height. More than 2 minutes later, Zhang Zhan took a deep breath. Xiaowen, are you sure you are not kidding us? Mr. Zhang stared at Zhang Wan with a solemn expression. The atmosphere inside the car was a bit solemn. Zhang Wan said seriously, Dad, do you think I would joke about this kind of thing? Nijixuan, the president of Linzhou Alchemist Association, chose to quit the Alchemist Association directly in order to help his brother Su Yu. Nijixuan is a 3-star alchemist. Do you think Nijixuan is a fool? After Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang looked at each other, they held their breath at the same time. Zhang Wan continued, It was only after I drank the wine brought out by Brother Suyu that I stepped from the peak of the Yukong realm to the perfection of the Yukong realm. Brother Suyu's wine can be called fairy wine. It will be of great benefit to the monks. Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang are both people who love wine. After hearing this, they couldn't help but swallow twice. When Zhang Wan saw this, she smiled and said, "Later, I took the good fortune gold core refined by Brother Suyu, and then I directly entered the early stage of good fortune realm from the great perfection of the sky control realm." While talking, she took out 4 creation realm gold cores from the storage ring. Suyu refined 10 gold cores at once, after she and Lin Zixuan each took 1. She and Lin Zixuan took 4 of the remaining 8 to use to recruit strong people for the Immortality Academy in the future. Zhang Zhan smelled the refreshing fragrance of elixir, and he knew that the gold core of creation only existed in ancient books. This is a 5-star apex level elixir. So far, no alchemist has been able to deduce the recipe for creating gold core. Since Suyu can refine the legendary 5-star gold core, the chance that he is a 7-star alchemist is really high. Mr. Zhang was just about to speak. Zhang Wan added, "Grandpa, the creation gold core refined by Brother Suyu is more mysterious than what is recorded in ancient books. Now the phantoms of stars have formed in the sky in my dantian. In the future, when I enter the great perfection of the creation realm, I will definitely be able to successfully break through to the star realm. At that time, the phantoms of the stars will be completely solidified. Breaking through from the creation realm to the heavenly star realm means lighting up the stars in the sky within the dantian." Mr. Zhang grabbed Zhang Wan's wrist and sensed the situation in Zhang Wan's dantian. When he sensed that there were indeed stars in the sky in Zhang Wan's dantian, he took a breath of air. He knew very well how difficult it was to cross from the Dzogchen realm of creation to the heavenly star realm. Many strong people in the creation realm can only stay in Dzogchen for their entire lives. He looked at the 4 creation gold cores in Zhang Wan's hand. This was equivalent to creating 4 powerful people in the heavenly star realm. After Zhang Zhan saw the change on the old man's face, he guessed that what Zhang Wan said was true. "What? This makes you so shocked that you are speechless. What if I say that Brother Suyu is still a 7-star array master?" A smile appeared on Zhang Wan's lips. Zhang Zhan and Mr. Jiang's eyes widened. "Xiao Wan, Suyu has already embarked on the journey of alchemist. There is no way he can still be an array master," Zhang Zhan said firmly. Zhang Wan looked out the car window. "Dad, why do you think Mr. Wei and Mr. Chiao are so respectful to Brother Suyu? Mr. Chiao is a 3-star formation mage, and Mr. Wei is a 4-star formation mage. Do you think they have brain problems?" This moment, Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang trembled. During the Linzhou incident, Mr. Wei and Mr. Chiao took action for Suyu. After they were eventually expelled from the Formation Masters Association, they still stayed by Suyu's side unswervingly. For these old men who are obsessed with formations, only Suyu's formation master level is high enough for them to follow him wholeheartedly. 7-star alchemist. 7-star array master. Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang looked out the car window again, and their mouths felt dry for a while. Mr. Zhang suddenly thought of something. Zhang Wan seemed to have taken out the fortune gold core from the storage ring just now. "Xiao Wan, where did your storage ring come from?" Zhang Wan said calmly, "It was given by Brother Suyu. The space inside only covers an area of more than 10,000 square meters and is almost 20 meters high." Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang nearly choked to death on their own saliva. Zhang Zhan still doesn't have a storage ring, but Mr. Zhang wears one on his finger. However, Mr. Jiang's storage ring only covers an area of about 15 square meters, and the height inside is 2 meters. Compared with Zhang Wan's storage ring, Mr. Jiang's storage ring is really rubbish among rubbish. Under the disbelieving looks of Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang, Zhang Wan took off the storage ring from her finger. "That's right. This storage ring also has the effect of assisting monks in their cultivation. allowing them to enter a state of selfless cultivation within a few seconds. Mr. Zhang immediately grabbed the storage ring in Zhang Wan's hand and closed his eyes to sense it. The state of selfless cultivation can be encountered but cannot be sought. He has lived for so long and has only entered a state of selfless cultivation a handful of times. After a while, Mr. Zhang opened his eyes excitedly. Xiao Wan, this storage ring actually has such a heaven-defying effect, it really opened my eyes. Zhang Wan said disapprovingly. That day, Brother Suyu casually took out hundreds of storage rings. Each storage ring has additional abilities. I remember that the storage ring chosen by Mr. Wei increased the attack power by 8 times. The storage ring chosen by Mr. Chiao is to increase the attack power 6 times. As soon as these words came out, Mr. Zhang and Zhang Zhan were once again in shock and unable to extricate themselves. Looking at Suyu standing outside the car, the father and son quickly opened the door. Zhang Zhan sent a secret message to Mr. Zhang. Dad, we were so rude to Suyu just now, and now we immediately change our attitude, won't it look ridiculous? Mr. Zhang thought about this question seriously. Yes. However, when Suyu looked over, Zhang Zhan immediately greeted him with a smile and strode over. What a good son-in-law. Get in the car quickly and go sit at our house. After Mr. Zhang saw Zhang Zhan's appearance, he wanted to give Zhang Zhan a slap in the face. Grandson-in-law, the Zhang family will be your home from now on. Don't be polite to us. Mr. Zhang looked enthusiastic. He was unhappy that Zhang Zhan got close to Suyu before him. He even used sound transmission to trick him just now. What a traitor. When Zhang Wan saw this, she said to herself, I haven't finished introducing Brother Suyu's situation yet. Dad and Grandpa are so impatient. Immortal World is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 95. A good son-in-law. Grandson-in-law. Suyu was stunned for a moment. The Zhang family is taking advantage of him. In the eyes of Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang, Suyu helped Zhang Wan break through her cultivation level and gave him such a heaven-defying storage ring. Suyu must like Zhang Wan. After learning that Suyu is a 7-star alchemist and a 7-star array master, Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang were so satisfied with Suyu. Zhang Wan knew that her father and grandfather had misunderstood the relationship between her and Suyu. But she didn't explain much. Brother Suyu, the Su family's birthday banquet hasn't started yet. You go to my house and sit for a while first. Zhang Wan stepped forward and took Suyu's arm naturally. The Su family is so lively today. Suyu wants to make the Su family fall into an abyss at the most festive moment. Then wait an extra hour or two. Senior Su, old man Chiao and I made an appointment with some old friends. We'll meet outside Su's house later. Mr. Wei said respectfully. Suyu knew that Mr. Wei and Mr. Chiao had found helpers for him. Although he didn't need it, he didn't reject Mr. Wei and Mr. Chiao's kindness. He nodded slightly. Mr. Wei and Mr. Chiao left first. Zhang Wan and Suyu got into the back seat of the luxurious black car. Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang did not go up to disturb them. They immediately asked the Zhang family members who were closest to here to drive over. Xiaoan, you have to entertain my grandson-in-law well. You go first. If anyone in our Zhang family dares to make my grandson-in-law unhappy, you will give him a hard whip. Mr. Zhang said with a serious face. Zhang Wan smiled and said, Grandpa, I understand. Say it. The driver drove Suyu and Zhang Wan to Jiang's house. After the car drives far away, Mr. Zhang slapped Zhang Zhan on the back of the head. You traitor, have you learned how to trick me? After finishing speaking, he laughed again. Those are the 7-star array master and the 7-star alchemist. Suyu, who possesses these two identities, is undoubtedly the most terrifying evil genius in Xia dynasty. Just being a 7-star array mage or a 7-star alchemist is enough to cause a sensation all over the world. Not to mention that these two identities appeared on Suyu at the same time. Zhang Zhan, who was beaten, could not suppress his excitement. "Dad, the president of the Alchemist Association ignored me in the past. He was only a 7-star alchemist. Now my good son-in-law is also a 7-star alchemist. Moreover, my good son-in-law is much younger than him. It is said that he may not be able to enter the ranks of 8-star or even 9-star alchemist in the future." Mr. Zhang nodded in agreement. He thinks this is very likely. From now on, Suyu is the only grandson-in-law I recognize. Those people in the Su family are so blind. How dare they target my grandson-in-law like this? I'm going to risk everything today. I want to accompany my good grandson-in-law to make a scene in the Su family. Mr. Zhang is full of pride. Then, he said seriously, "Guys, please listen to me. Your mission today is to protect my grandson-in-law. If something happens to my grandson-in-law in the Su family, don't come back. Did you hear that clearly?" Zhang Zhan nodded heavily. "Dad, don't worry, I will never let anything happen to my son-in-law." The father and son still don't know how powerful Suyu is. Not long after, a member of the Zhang family arrived here by car. He got out of the car respectfully, opened the backseat door, and invited Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang into the back seat. More than half an hour later, Suyu and Zhang Wan arrived at the Zhang manor first. The entire Zhang family is majestic. The driver drove the car to a villa in the manor. Then, he left wisely. This villa is Zhang Wan's residence. "Brother Suyu, I'm going to change clothes. You can walk around here. You can also sit in the hall for a while." Zhang Wan smiled slightly. She usually doesn't like to be disturbed. The maids would only come here to clean when she was away. Therefore, this area belonging to her is very quiet. Suyu sat down on a stone chair outside the villa. Set foot on the land of Tianhai again. He was very uneasy in his heart. After so many years, he finally waited for this day. Look at a small fountain not far away. Suyu exhaled from his mouth. At this time, two figures were walking from a distance. "In front is where my sister lives. After my sister gets engaged to Suwu today, we will be considered a family in the future." The person who spoke was a young man in his 20s. He was wearing luxurious clothes and looked quite handsome. This person is Zhang Wan's cousin Zhang Feng. His parents died in an accident when he was very young, so he was very favored in the Zhang family. Zhang Wan usually takes good care of this cousin. The young man walking side by side with Zhang Feng had a calm expression. He was Suwu's cousin Su Ming. His father, Su Yan, is the head of the Tianhai branch of the Hidden Division. For a long time, Su Yan had no intention of competing for the position of head of the Su family. Su Wu and Su Ming got along well with each other in the Su family. Su Ming came here on behalf of the Su family to confirm today's engagement between Su Wu and Zhang Wan. When he was about to speak, he suddenly saw Suyu sitting on a stone chair in the distance. After Suyu helped Song Ruian remove the birthmark on her face, Song Ruian suddenly became what others called a fairy. Su Ming had been obsessed with Song Ruian for a while. Once, he used Song Ruian's name to trick Suyu into a deserted place. Under his leadership, a group of people beat Suyu severely. Then, he buried the half-dead Suyu in the soil, leaving only his head exposed for air. Back then, Su Ming was condescending and kicked Suyu's head one after another. After tormenting Suyu to the point of dying, he took the others away. Later, if a scavenger hadn't happened to pass by and dig Suyu out of the soil, he would definitely die that day. When Su Ming saw Suyu, Suyu also saw him. When Zhang Feng saw that Su Ming was silent, he said, "My sister will definitely return to Tianhai this morning. There will be no surprises in her engagement with Su Wu." Still didn't hear Su Ming speak. Zhang Feng frowned slightly, and following Su Ming's gaze, he saw Suyu sitting on the stone chair. Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang investigated Su Yu before. Zhang Feng also saw Su Yu's photos. He recognized Su Yu at a glance. How come you, the abandoned son of the Su family, are outside my sister's villa? After a few seconds, he thought he had figured it out. I understand, the Linzhou incident was caused by this abandoned son of your Su family. My sister brought him to Tianhai from Linzhou, and she must have handed him over to your Su family. This can be considered a gift from my sister to your Su family. Su Ming saw that Zhang Feng's words were clear and logical, and he also agreed with the statement. Trash, you're fine. Why don't you kneel down and say hello when you see me? I remember I said back then that if you appear in front of me from now on, you must kneel down and kowtow. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Immortal world is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 96. Su Yu did not stand up from the stone chair. He stared at Su Ming indifferently, and the distant memory came to mind again. When he faced Su Ming's bullying, he had no power to resist. Thinking back to the despair he felt when he was buried in the soil. The pain of being kicked in the head again and again by Su Ming. Su Yu took a deep breath, and he almost slapped Su Ming to death. Fortunately, he finally controlled his emotions. He would never let Su Ming die so easily. When Zhang Feng saw Su Yu sitting still with an indifferent expression, the aura of his peak sea transformation realm burst out like a flood. Trash, are you deaf? Didn't you hear Su Ming talking to you? In terms of seniority, you are Su Ming's cousin. You should treat Su Ming respectfully. There was a coldness in Zhang Feng's eyes. Su Yu said calmly, are you done talking nonsense? I advise you not to meddle in other people's business, otherwise you will kneel down and beg me for forgiveness later. Zhang Feng seemed to have heard the funniest joke in the world. He burst into laughter. After the laughter stopped, he snorted, you are just an abandoned son of the Su family, and you still want to make me kneel down? Are you dreaming? Do you know who I am? Zhang Wan is my cousin, and the current head of the Zhang family is my uncle. In the Zhang family, everyone gives way to me. You want me to kneel down to you in the Zhang family? Are you out of your mind? Su Ming's shoulders shook, and the aura of sea transformation realm's great perfection erupted from his body. I heard from Su Wu that you now have the cultivation level of the early stage of sea transformation realm. That surprised me. But, do you think that with the early stage cultivation of sea transformation realm, you can be arrogant in front of me? I will squeeze you to death, and it will still be as easy as before. A sharp light shone from his eyes. I'll say it one last time, kneel down and say hello. Su Yu stood up from the stone chair. The grudge between you and me should indeed be settled. Today next year will be your death anniversary. Su Ming looked at Su Yu, who was without any aura, and sneered, zombie, you still like to have whimsical ideas as before. Do you want to defeat me with your initial cultivation in sea transformation realm? How ignorant. The smile on his face became even colder. Zhajui, I forgot to tell you something. Back then, I used Song Ruian's name to deceive you. In fact, Song Ruian knew about it. While we were burying you in the soil, Song Ruian was sitting in a car far away looking at you. You and she are not from the same world at all. Do you think she will really fall in love with you? You are just a toad. Su Yu frowned. He really didn't know that Song Ruian was also present. That damn woman. It was really a waste of all his infatuation. After Tianhai's matter is resolved, he will go to the imperial capital and beat Song Ruian back to his original form. Then retrieve his eyes from Qin Tian's. Su Ming mocked, Zhajui, why don't you speak? Do you still have illusions about Song Ruian? Do you think a waste like you is worthy of Song Ruian? If Su Wu hadn't sent you off personally, I would have killed you right now. His feet took a step forward. Bang! The ground cracked and gravel flew up. When Zhang Feng saw this, he said, "Su Ming, this is the Zhang family, and you are a guest in our home. You stand aside and watch, and I'll help you clean up this waste. I will make him kneel down and kowtow to you obediently." When Su Ming heard this, he took a step back and agreed to Zhang Feng's proposal. "You were brought back by my sister as a gift to the Su family. I really don't understand why you are so arrogant. Kneel down and say hello to Su Ming honestly. Say it." Zhang Feng's peak sea transformation realm aura was very turbulent. His figure rushed towards Su Yu with a faint confident smile on his face. Just a kid from the early days of sea transformation realm. It was easy to deal with him. Just when Su Yu wanted to shoot Zhang Feng away, a fierce energy rushed out from the villa. "Zhang Feng, don't you want to live?" Zhang Wan, who put on a long black dress, slowly walked out of the villa. Zhang Feng was knocked away by the force and flew 5 meters away before falling heavily to the ground. Zhang Wan has a hot figure. The long black skirt made her plump pair appear. When Zhang Wan was changing clothes upstairs, she heard Zhang Feng and Su Ming insulting Su Yu. She felt very fond of Su Yu. Otherwise, she wouldn't have taken the initiative to throw herself into his arms when she was in Linzhou. She really fell in love with Su Yu. Right now, someone in the Zhang family dared to yell at Su Yu, which really made her furious. Su Ming, who was watching the show on the side, suddenly had a look on his face. How is this going? He can't understand it. Zhang Feng got up from the ground, a trace of blood flowing from the corner of his mouth. "Sister, what are you doing? Aren't you going to give this offal as a gift to the Su family?" Zhang Wan's beautiful eyes were cold. Although she usually gave in to Zhang Feng, her cousin, this matter involved Su Yu, and she absolutely couldn't let it go. "Zhang Feng, kneel down. If you don't get brother Su Yu's forgiveness today, I will expel you from the Zhang family," Zhang Wan said coldly. Zhang Feng was stunned for a moment. He thought his ears were wrong at first, but after seeing Zhang Wan's cold eyes, he confirmed that this was not an illusion. "Sister, are you crazy? For an abandoned son of the Su family, you not only beat me, but also made me kneel down to apologize to him, and even expelled me from the Zhang family. Do you know what you're doing?" When Zhang Wan saw that Zhang Feng had no intention of repenting, she snorted coldly, "It seems you can't understand human speech." Finished. Her figure flashed and appeared in front of Zhang Feng, and she slapped him without hesitation. Then came the second slap, the third slap, the fourth slap. Under Zhang Wan's slap, Zhang Feng had no ability to resist, and he couldn't even dodge. After Zhang Wan slapped her a dozen times, she finally stopped. Zhang Feng, whose entire face was swollen like a pig's head, fell to the ground, his mind spinning. At this time, Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang arrived in front of the villa in a car. The driver quickly got out of the car and opened the door for them both. After Zhang Feng saw Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang, he seemed to have seen a savior. "Grandpa, uncle, sister mercilessly attacked me for an abandoned son of the Su family. I think she has gone crazy." After Su Ming saw Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang, he breathed a sigh of relief. Once these two show up, things will definitely get back on track. Zhang Feng waited pitifully for his uncle and grandfather to make the decision for him. But what he was waiting for was a sudden kick. Bang! Zhang Zhan kicked Zhang Feng in front of Zhang Wan for daring to insult his good son-in-law. It's really time to teach Zhang Feng a lesson. Zhang Wan kicked Zhang Feng back to Zhang Zhan. The father and daughter started a mixed doubles game. You kick, I kick, it's so fun. Immortal world is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 97. Ah! Zhang Feng's screams echoed in the air. Su Ming's face was full of doubts. He knew that Zhang Feng was very popular in the Zhang family. It would be fine if it was just Zhang Wan who went crazy. Why is Zhang Zhan also going crazy now? When he was puzzled, Mr. Zhang shouted, "You two, stop." Zhang Wan and Zhang Zhan paused and looked at Mr. Zhang with doubtful eyes. Zhang Feng, who was kicked and bruised all over, rolled and crawled closer to Mr. Zhang. "Grandpa, uncle, and sister are all going crazy. I just asked the abandoned son of the Su family to kneel down and say hello to Su Ming. I didn't do anything wrong." Mr. Zhang looked at Zhang Feng, who was approaching. He suddenly kicked Zhang Feng back to Zhang Zhan. "Did you two take me seriously? If you guys knock this bastard out, wouldn't I have nothing to do? What are you doing standing still? Keep playing. Count me in. I have to give this bastard a good memory today." Zhang Feng, who was in a daze, almost burst into tears after hearing Mr. Jiang's words. With his cultivation at the peak of the sea transformation realm, he didn't even have the power to resist in front of these three people. Why did his grandfather, uncle, and sister, who usually took great care of him, become like this? Is it all because of this abandoned son of the Su family? That's not right either. Isn't Zhang Wan getting engaged to Su Wu today? Su Yu is a thorn in the side of Tianhai Su family. Grandpa, why do they want to help Su Yu? This is unreasonable. When Zhang Feng's mind was filled with doubts, Zhang Zhan had already kicked him in the stomach, and he flew towards Zhang Wan like a ball. "Usually we are too indulgent towards you. If my good son-in-law refuses to forgive you today, you will no longer be a member of our Zhang family from now on. Hang around with some shady people all day long, don't you have any brains?" Zhang Zhan shouted. Zhang Feng's face was stunned, and he wondered in his mind, a good son-in-law. Just didn't wait for him to think about it carefully. Zhang Wan kicked him towards Mr. Zhang. "Ah!" A painful scream came from Zhang Feng's throat. Mr. Zhang stretched out his withered right palm and grabbed Zhang Feng, who was flying over. "If you do something wrong, you will be punished." Mr. Jiang's face was filled with anger, and a terrifying aura burst out of his body. This frightened Zhang Feng so much that he didn't even dare to breathe. He was still thinking about what Zhang Zhan just said. Mr. Zhang carried Zhang Feng to Su Yu and said, "Son-in-law, this bastard doesn't know how to live or die, and he dares to help an outsider bully you." Before he could finish speaking, Zhang Feng exclaimed, "Grandpa, what did you call him? Is it possible that the son-in-law that the uncle mentioned just now is also him? Isn't my sister getting engaged to Su Wu today?" Mr. Jiang's terrifying aura was suppressed, and Zhang Feng felt a tightness in his chest, and no sound could come out of his throat. "Did I ask you to speak? Su Yu is the only grandson-in-law I recognize in my life. Who is Su Wu? He is a thief at best. He stole my grandson-in-law's immortal bones back then. If it weren't for my grandson-in-law's immortal bones, who would he be, Su Wu?" Mr. Zhang casually threw Zhang Feng in front of Su Yu and continued, "Son-in-law, this bastard is at your disposal." Su Ming, who was not far away, saw the scene in front of him. His body stiffened a bit. How did things come to this? Obviously Grandpa has reached an agreement with Mr. Zhang. Why does Mr. Zhang regret it? He swallowed hard in his throat. Once Su Yu climbed into the Zhang family, the Su family would have to think carefully if they wanted to attack Su Yu again in the future. Su Yu lowered his head and looked down at Zhang Feng, who was covered in injuries. The surroundings instantly became quiet. When Zhang Feng noticed the indifference in Su Yu's eyes, his body trembled again and again, thinking back to how merciless his grandfather and the others had just been. He is not a stupid person, he knows that Su Yu must be very important to the Zhang family. After thinking about the matter, he knelt down towards Su Yu. "It was my fault just now. I am not qualified to do anything to you. I beg you to forgive me this time. Say it." Bang, bang, bang. Zhang Feng kowtowed to Su Yu several times. Mr. Zhang felt that this was the apologetic attitude Zhang Feng should have. You must know that Suyu is a 7-star alchemist and a 7-star array master. It is not shameful for Zhangfeng to kowtow to him and apologize. Suyu said casually, for Zhangwan's sake, I will spare your life. Remember, there is no second time. Otherwise you're going to hell. Mr. Zhang and others had given him enough face just now. He is not an unreasonable person. Mr. Zhang kicked Zhangfeng in the waist. Asshole, why don't you thank me quickly? Zhangfeng lowered his head and said, thank you for your kindness in not killing me, thank you for your kindness in not killing me. He thanked her profusely. Suyu didn't take another look at Zhangfeng, his eyes were fixed on Su Ming. After the two people's eyes collided, Su Ming lost the calmness he had just now. Now the attitude of the Zhang family is clear at a glance. The Zhang family became Suyu's territory. If he had a conflict with Suyu here, he might not be slapped to death by Mr. Zhang. Su Ming tried his best to speak in a calm tone. Mr. Zhang, do you really want to be a treacherous person for the sake of an abandoned son of our Su family? You have made an agreement with my grandfather. Our Su family contacted the president of the Alchemist Association in the imperial capital yesterday. If nothing unexpected happens, he will come to my grandfather's birthday party today. Do you, the Zhang family, really want to give up this opportunity? Let a 7-star alchemist help your Zhang family refine 7-star elixirs 3 times. Do you know how much our Su family has paid for this? Zhangfeng had already learned about this from Mr. Zhang. His heart was beating fast. It was obvious that his grandfather had been very excited about this before. Why has your appearance changed now? Mr. Zhang said coldly, Junior, are you the only one worthy of accusing me of betrayal? If we get on your Su family's pirate ship, our Zhang family will definitely lose myriad tribulations. We have to turn back and make a decision. Without my grandson-in-law's consent today, you can never step out of the Zhang family's door. Finished. His aura was locked on Su Ming. Zhang Zhan took a step forward, his face filled with an icy look. Under Mr. Jiang's momentum, Su Ming's body became stiffer and stiffer. He gritted his teeth tightly, and beads of sweat the size of peas appeared on his forehead. Suyu, relying on others is nothing. If you want to be a man, you can fight alone with me. Don't you want revenge in your heart? I'm standing here now. If you don't dare, I can give you an arm. When I compete with you, I don't use my right arm. Is this okay? Don't tell me, you still don't dare. Su Ming mocked. Suyu always had a calm expression. Zhangwan was the only one present who knew that Suyu was very strong. She looked at Su Ming as if she were looking at a clown. Immortal world is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 98. Su Ming stared at Suyu with his cold eyes. He just wants to leave the Zhang family safely now. Only by controlling Suyu's life in his hands can he be qualified to threaten Mr. Zhang and others. Suyu said indifferently, are you sure you want to fight me alone? Su Ming said coldly, if you don't dare, just say so. Don't think that if you get close to the Zhang family, I will bow to you. You will never be my opponent in this life. He was deliberately irritating Suyu. Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang guessed Su Ming's thoughts, and they were about to warn him. But Suyu spoke before them, okay, I'll make it happen for you. You can do it now. Zhang Zhan said anxiously, my good son-in-law, you must not do this. Let me help you clean up this garbage, don't get your hands dirty. Mr. Zhang nodded and said, son-in-law, please listen to our advice and just watch from the sidelines. Let's help you break off his hand tendons and hamstrings first. When the time comes, you can slowly torture him. According to the investigated information, Suyu's cultivation level is at the early stage of sea transformation realm at best. In the eyes of the father and son, Suyu could become a 7-star alchemist and a 7-star array master at such a young age. It is normal to be weaker in cultivation. Besides, Sea transformation realm is not weak at the beginning. The starting realm of cultivating immortality is the Chi condensation realm, followed by the innate realm, and then the Sea transformation realm. In the Xia kingdom, many monks in their 20s are still in the Chi condensation realm. Su Ming's expression was slightly ferocious. Mr. Zhang, Master Zhang, you two are seniors. Now that Su Yu has agreed to compete with me, what are you doing? Do you think the Zhang family can really do whatever they want in Tianhai? When Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang looked gloomy, Zhang Wan smiled and said, Dad, Grandpa, let brother Su Yu handle this matter by himself. I have confidence in him. Zhang Feng, who was bruised and swollen, reminded, Sister, Su Ming's current cultivation level is in the Sea transformation realm. He even defeated the strong men in the early stage of the Sky control realm in the past. As far as I know, Su Yu is currently in the early stages of Sea transformation realm. As everyone knows, above the Sea transformation realm is the Sky control realm, then the creation realm, and then the star realm. The higher you climb, the harder it becomes. The higher you go, the smaller the chance of defeating your opponent. Su Ming was able to leapfrog and defeat the early stage monks of the Sky control realm with his perfect cultivation level in the Sea transformation realm, which is enough to prove that he has good fighting talent. So far, Zhang Feng still had no good impression of Su Yu. He just knelt down and kowtowed to Su Yu. He was purely forced and could only bow his head temporarily. Now I'm reminding you, it's all for the sake of Mr. Zhang and others. Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang stared at Zhang Wan worriedly. You have to believe in me, and you must believe in brother Su Yu. Zhang Wan was always calm. Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang took a deep breath in unison and remained silent for the time being. If they see Su Yu in danger later, even if they are shameless, they will take action to save Su Yu. When Zhang Feng saw his grandfather and uncle quiet down, he shook his head slightly. His sister clearly cared about Su Yu just now. Now he wants Su Yu to be tortured again. He really didn't understand what was going on in Zhang Wan's mind. After Su Ming saw that Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang had no intention of intervening, the Sea transformation realm's perfect aura boiled over him. Su Yu, you look like a man now. I told you not to use your right arm. I will keep my word. Su Yu just said calmly, it doesn't matter. Su Ming looked at Su Yu's pretense, and he was very angry inside. Su Yu was just a waste in his eyes. You have no right to pose like this in front of him. Su Ming kicked the ground with his right foot. Bang! The ground shattered and he rose into the air, just about to fly towards Su Yu. However, the next second, Su Yu disappeared from the spot. His figure appeared above Su Ming. Both feet stepped on Su Ming's shoulders. Su Ming couldn't react at all. He only felt as if a mountain was being pressed against his shoulders, and his body suddenly fell downwards. When his expression changed drastically, there was another bang. Su Yu trampled Su Ming into the ground. Now only Su Ming's head was exposed on the ground. His body below his head sank into the ground. A trace of spiritual energy just emerged from Su Yu's feet. After entering Su Ming's body, the meridians all over his body were destroyed in a mess. Now Su Ming couldn't exert any strength in his body. Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang, who were originally nervous, were stunned for a while when they saw this. Xiaoan, what level is my good son-in-law at now? Has he already entered the Sky control realm? Zhang Zhan couldn't help but ask. Zhang Feng, who had a cold face on the side, now had his eyes wider than lanterns. He couldn't believe what he saw. He once competed with Su Ming with his peak cultivation level in the Sea transformation realm. Although Su Ming's cultivation level is higher than his, he is in the great perfection above the peak of Sea transformation realm. But he originally thought that he could survive at least a few moves in Su Ming's hands. As a result, he couldn't survive even one move. He was well aware of Su Ming's terror. But now Su Ming is like a chicken and a dog in front of this abandoned son of the Su family. Is he dreaming? Zhang Feng kept blinking hard, but the scene in front of him never changed. Su Ming really lost to Su Yu. And it was a complete defeat. Mr. Zhang looked at Zhang Wan with burning eyes. Actually, Brother Su Yu's cultivation level has indeed surpassed the sea transformation realm. Zhang Wan said. As soon as these words came out, Zhang Zhan became even more excited. Good son-in-law, you are really my good son-in-law. As far as I know, Su Wu, who stole the immortal bones, was only in the early stages of the sky control realm. My good son-in-law will definitely be able to reach the top of Xia Kingdom in the future. Mr. Zhang was in a very good mood. You are indeed my grandson-in-law. From now on, the entire Zhang family will be centered on you. Su Ming, whose body sank into the ground, was in disbelief. He didn't believe that he would lose to Su Yu. Now after hearing Zhang Wan's words, he roared like crazy. There is no way this bastard can step into the sky control realm. There is absolutely no way he is a strong man in the air control realm. Zhang Wan nodded and said, Brother Su Yu is indeed not a monk in the sky control realm. After hearing this, Su Ming laughed as if he was possessed by a demon. I knew it was like this. This bastard must have used shady means to suppress me. When it comes to true strength, he is no match for me. Zhang Wan ignored Su Ming and continued, Brother Su Yu's current cultivation level is at the early stage of the heavenly star realm. You say he is a master of the sky control realm. Isn't this tantamount to insulting him? Heavenly star realm. That is a level above the creation realm. When Zhang Feng saw Zhang Wan's serious face, he thought he understood why Zhang Wan valued Su Yu so much. A strong man in the heavenly star realm in his 20s. This is unimaginable. Zhang Feng wiped away his previous unhappiness, and he no longer had any anger towards Su Yu. He quickly ran into the villa. When he came out again, he was holding a teacup in his left hand and a chair in his right hand. He walked up to Su Yu and said respectfully, Brother-in-law, are you thirsty? Sit down and drink tea to moisten your throat first. Trash like Su Ming is not worth your anger. Now he shouted brother-in-law from the bottom of his heart. He wants to hug his thigh. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Immortal world is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 99. Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang asked Zhang Wan several times through sound transmission. They still received a positive answer from Zhang Wan. Su Yu was indeed a strong man in the early stage of the heavenly star realm. This moment. The excitement of Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang cannot be described in words. A strong person in the early stage of the heavenly star realm. 7-star alchemist. 7-star array master. These three identities appear in Su Yu at the same time. If this matter spreads, Su Yu will definitely become the most shining person in the world. Zhang Zhan and Mr. Zhang couldn't calm down for a long time. This is really an opportunity for their Zhang family. As long as we can hold it firmly, the Zhang family will definitely undergo earth-shaking changes in the future. The influence of the Zhang family will no longer be limited to Tianhai. Su Yu looked at Zhang Feng, whose face was swollen like a pig's head. He took the teacup and took a sip. The water temperature is just right. A bright smile appeared on Zhang Feng's pig-headed face. Brother-in-law, I was just ignorant. From now on, you just need to give me an order, and I promise to be there when you call. After Su Ming was stunned for a few seconds, he roared out, you have all been deceived by this bastard. Do you think the powerful people in the heavenly star realm are just rotten cabbage on the street? He is just an abandoned son of our Su family. He will never rise in this life. After Zhang Feng respectfully took the teacup from Su Yu's hand, he kicked Su Ming on the head. You bitch, why are you barking so hard? You have disturbed my brother-in-law, do you know? Zhang Fen knew that his sister was not stupid. Since it is something her sister has determined, it will definitely not go wrong. Su Ming still wanted to speak. Zhang Feng kicked him many times in succession. Su Ming didn't stop until several teeth flew out of his mouth. Su Ming was the person Su Yu wanted to kill, and he didn't dare to kill Su Ming directly. Su Yu looked down at Su Ming indifferently. Have you ever thought that today would happen? In the past, I could only let you bully me. When I return to Tianhai this time, I will repay you 100-fold for the insult you did to me back then. Su Ming spat out a mouthful of bloody spit. Zizai, you can't imagine how powerful the Su family is now. I advise you to let me go immediately. Otherwise, it will be useless even if the Zhang family protects you. The Zhang family will only perish with you. The storage ring on Su Yu's finger flashed, and a dark black coffin appeared in everyone's sight. I saw many lifelike ghost patterns carved on the surface of the coffin. Mysterious lines are intertwined around these ghostly patterns. The moment this black coffin appeared, a gust of wind blew by, making people shiver. Zhang Feng did not dare to stare at the coffin for a long time. He was almost mentally disturbed just now, with a look of shock on his face. Mr. Zhang looked solemn. This coffin is extraordinary. Don't stare at it for too long. Zhang Zhan and Zhang Wan nodded in sympathy. Su Yu waved his arm, and the coffin lid instantly flew up and floated in the air. Today is that old dog's birthday party, how can I leave empty-handed? You should feel lucky, because you are the first gift I want to give to the Su family. Otherwise you will never be able to leave the Zhang family alive. Su Yu kicked the ground with his right foot. Next, just enjoy the fun this soul-piercing coffin brings to you. There was a bang sound. The ground exploded. Su Ming's body flew out from the ground and fell into the thorn soul coffin accurately. When he wanted to struggle to get up from the soul-piercing coffin, 4 black chains extended from the inner wall of the coffin and instantly wrapped around Su Ming's body, making it impossible for him to move at all. Immediately afterwards, Su Ming felt a needling sensation in his soul. At first, he could grit his teeth and insist on not screaming, but as time went by, the needle pricking feeling became more and more intensive and intense. Ah! Su Ming finally couldn't help but scream. His entire face had a ferocious expression. Su Yu glanced at Zhang Wan and others. This coffin is called Thorn Soul. People who enter the coffin will have their souls pricked by needles all the time, and this feeling of needle pricks will become more and more terrifying. When the soul of the person entering the coffin is weakened, the thorn soul coffin will cause him to enter various tormenting hallucinations. At this time, the person in the coffin can no longer distinguish between reality and hallucination, and everything he experiences will be mistaken for reality. That kind of torture can cause a person to have a nervous breakdown and go crazy. Say it. Su Yu pointed at the coffin lid in mid-air. Bang! The heavy coffin lid fell down, sealing the coffin tightly. If you listen carefully, you can still vaguely hear Su Ming's screams inside the coffin. Zhang Feng swallowed hard in his throat. After Zhang Wan came to her senses, she said, "Brother Su Yu, let's go sit for a while first. In an hour, we will leave for Su's house." At the same time, when Su Ming was imprisoned in the soul-piercing coffin, the Su family was overjoyed. It's still early and the guests haven't arrived yet. The servants of the Su family were busy coming in and out. Inside the Su family, a very quiet area. A lake has been artificially dug here. An old man was sitting by the lake, holding a fishing rod in his hand and fishing leisurely. This person is Su Yu, the old man of the Su family. The sun is very warm. After shining on the lake, the waves sparkle. The breeze blowing caused ripples on the lake. A woman in her 20s came over. She was wearing a blue dress, her long hair was tied up casually, her facial features were very delicate, and her beautiful eyes were full of indifference. It was as if she didn't care about anything in the world. This woman's name is Xia Qingying. Before Suyu was 5 years old, his immortal bones were not pulled out. He was the hope in the eyes of everyone in the Su family. Xia Qingying was brought back to the Su family by Suyu when Suyu was 2 years old. Xia Qingying was 5 years old at that time. No one knows Xia Qingying's true identity. At the beginning, Suyu often asks Xia Qingying to play with Suyu. After Suyu lost his immortal bones, Xia Qingying never appeared in front of Suyu again. Xia Qingying was Suyu's playmate when he was a child. It was Suwu who took away Suyu's immortal bones back then. Are you sure you want Suwu to kill Suyu today? Suyu is also your grandson. Xia Qingying said it very calmly. Suyu casually pulled up the fishing rod. The fish is hooked. He caught a big fat grass carp. He caught the big grass carp with his dry right palm. The big grass carp that was originally struggling suddenly became calm. Every decision I make is for the good of the Su family. Besides, I have the right to decide the life and death of everyone in the Su family. Suyu flicked his right hand, and the big grass carp was thrown back into the lake. What happened back then, there is no turning back. Even if the immortal bones are pulled out and transplanted back, the mystery and spirituality will only disappear. If Suyu is sacrificed, the Su family can reach a higher level. It's his pleasure. Immortal world is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 100. The big trees by the lake were rustling in the wind. Emerald green leaves kept colliding together. Suyu's eyes were deep, and the word regret had never been in his dictionary. Every move he makes is for the future of the Su family. Qingying, why did you suddenly ask about Suyu? Although you spent some time with him back then, I believe that from your perspective, you would never fall in love with him. Suyu said firmly. He was very polite to Xia Qingying. As he spoke, a look of fear flashed across his eyes. It seems that Xia Qingying's identity is really extraordinary. Mr. Su, don't worry. I will not interfere in your Su family's affairs. I have no interest in Suyu. You know, with my background, I can provide a method to transplant fairy bones back into the original owner's body. You didn't ask me back then, which means you were already biased towards Suwu. In my eyes, Suyu is just a defective toy, so I didn't care about him back then. Xia Qingying's address to Suyu was quite respectful. But there was no trace of respect in her words, and her brows were full of indifference. Suyu did not dare to get angry in front of Xia Qingying. Suyu's parents were missing at that time. The immortal bones have been transplanted into Suwu's body. With the support of his parents, Suwu will have a smoother future. If you want to forcefully pull out the immortal bone implanted in Suwu, even if Suyu's body can accept the immortal bones again, it will eventually cause the entire Su family to fall apart. Suyu thought he made the most correct decision that year. Qingying, what kind of person do you think Suyu is? I didn't expect that after his bones and eyes were pulled out, he could achieve what he has today. To be able to reach the early stage of sea transformation realm at the age of 21 is really beyond my expectation. Suyu stared at the lake. He fished again. Xia Qingying said indifferently, Mr. Su, are you wondering what kind of cultivation Suyu would be now if his bones and eyes hadn't been pulled out back then? Suyu is the original owner of the immortal bones and the infinite purple eyes. If he had not had his bones pulled out and his eyes dug out from the beginning to the end, his current achievements would definitely be far above Suwu. Actually, you already have a trace of regret deep in your heart, but you just don't want to admit it. She looked at the sparkling lake and continued, in my memory, Suyu is an excessively naive person. As the saying goes, you look older at the age of 3. His fate has been determined for a long time. Even if God gives him a chance, he himself cannot grasp it. The words fell. The sky suddenly trembled. There is a colorful light beam rising into the sky in the distance. Suyu was stunned. This time, Even Xia Qingying, who had always been calm, frowned. She muttered, "The power of heaven and earth." This is a vision that occurred after someone communicated with heaven and earth. A lingering smile appeared on Su Yu's face. It must be Su Wu who caused the noise. "Come on, let's go take a look together." "Say it." His figure disappeared instantly. After Xia Qingying hesitated for a few seconds, she also disappeared. The speed of these two people was extremely fast. Inside the Su family. Su Wu's exclusive training room. His father Su Xiao stood solemnly. Next to him is his eldest brother Su Yan, who is also Su Ming's father. "Third brother, I congratulate you in advance. It seems that Xiao Wu has gained a lot this time," Su Yan said with a smile. As the head of the Su family, Su Xiao was very polite to Su Yan. If Su Yan hadn't taken the initiative to withdraw from the competition, he couldn't take the position of head of the family so easily. When Su Xiao wanted to speak, Su Yu and Xia Qingying suddenly appeared outside the practice room. Su Yan and Su Xiao respectfully shouted, "Dad." Then, they looked at Xia Qingying, not daring to show any slightness. They almost said in unison, "Miss Xia." Xia Qingying nodded calmly. From the day Su Yu brought Xia Qingying to the Su family, he told everyone in the Su family that if anyone dared to make Xia Qingying unhappy in the future, he would break their legs and expel that person from the Su family. Over the years, no one dared to anger Xia Qingying. Even Su Wu, who was usually extremely arrogant, was honest in front of Xia Qingying. The spiritual energy between heaven and earth poured into the training room crazily. Su Yu and others could sense that Su Wu's momentum in the training room was rising. Su Wu used the immortal bones to communicate between heaven and earth. It seems that he is becoming more and more proficient in using this immortal bone, Xia Qingying said. Su Yu smiled and said, "Qingying, this is a good thing. You stay in our Su family, don't you just have to wait for Su Wu to be able to use the ability of the immortal bones freely. Perhaps it won't be long before Su Wu can help you complete that matter." Very beginning, Xia Qingying came to the Su family purely because Su Yu had immortal bones. Otherwise, a person of her status would never take a second look at the Su family. Later, the immortal bones entered Su Wu's body. This is no big deal to Xia Qingying, as long as there is no problem with the immortal bones. Su Xiao and Su Yan looked at Su Yu with puzzled faces. However, Su Yu had no intention of explaining. A look of expectation flashed across Xia Qingying's indifferent face. After another 10 minutes, the mysterious power between heaven and earth becomes stronger and stronger. A rib appeared in the sky. This rib is so huge that it seems to penetrate the entire sky. Under the shadow of this rib, even Su Yu felt a little tight in his chest. Not to mention Su Xiao and Su Yan. Xia Qingying was the only one present who looked at ease. This is the strange phenomenon caused by the power of the immortal bones in Su Wu's body projected into the sky, Xia Qingying explained casually. Not long after she finished speaking, the door of the training room was opened from the inside. Su Wu, who was wearing black training clothes, was smiling broadly. He was full of energy, and thunder and lightning flashed in the space around him when he moved his hands and feet. After Su Xiao felt Su Wu's aura, he took a deep breath and couldn't hide the excitement on his face. "Have you broken through to the late stage of the sky control realm?" Su Wu nodded proudly. When he saw Xia Qingying was there, the smile on his lips became a little wider. Xia Qingying is also one of the women he likes. Sooner or later he will win Xia Qingying's favor one day. Su Yu stepped forward and patted Su Wu on the shoulder. He smiled and said, "Not bad, not bad." Su Wu's original cultivation level was at the early stage of the sky control realm. This time he was able to cross the mid-stage of the air control realm and step into the late stage of the air control realm. It's definitely a continuous breakthrough. This was something that Su Yu and others did not expect. The strong momentum is not vain. you will be the leader of our Su family in the future. Suyu praised again. A hint of viciousness flashed in Suwu's eyes. Grandpa, at your birthday banquet, I want to compete with Suyu. I must trample him under my feet in front of everyone. Suyu was a thorn in his heart. Today he will pull out this thorn with his own hands. He didn't want to hear again in the future that he relied on Suyu's immortal bones to rise.